Hello friends, today we will be talking about the Pirate of the Barents Sea. If you get the pun, please leave a comment. Now, we will be talking about Corsair, the new champion. Who knows? Let's find out. We will be discussing two different decks and going into detail about how and what and why you should be using the Corsair for. The two decks we are going to check are shown on the screen right now. One with Trapper and one with Mime. We will be going over the benefits and you will be seeing gameplay from both of these decks. Let's start with the beginning. The deck. Corsair, Executioner, Trapper, Harlequin and Summoner. This is the first deck we're showcasing. I think this one is a little bit more forgiving than the one without Trapper. Early game, when you don't get enough Corsairs or you know, they're still level 1, the bombs aren't really coming real quick. So if you get a few Trappers, they do quite a decent amount of damage early on in the game. So that's a good thing. And also they provide a little bit of extra damage, and they also provide the slow, which can also help a lot. So that's the first thing. Now, before we continue with the star of our show, Corsair, let's talk about heroes. I still have to get used to this because it's so new. You see me playing with Trainer, but there's also Snowflake. I like them both a lot. It's a bit too soon to give like a judgment on this one is better or the other one. I'm still testing it because I can't really, you know, make a decision. Personally, I think I like Snowflake better. I find it a little bit more safe to play, plus the freezing your opponent at certain times really helps, even though you don't really see or feel it. It's really strong, and I also like the big slow it can give you. So since there is no slow in this deck, except for the Trapper, I think it will give you a benefit. On the other hand, you have Trainer, and if you can level him up a little bit, you will get the damage boost, and you have like his little totem to stop the mobs. It doesn't take very long, but it can give you attack speed, and it will give you also some extra time to fill your board with bombs again from the Corsair. So both heroes have something to offer. I haven't decided yet which one I think is best, but these two are definitely the ones to consider. I also tested Jay, but I don't understand that hero. He has that 2 attack speed tiles. Those are really good, and if you put a Corsair on both of them, you will clearly see that your lanes get filled with bombs a lot quicker. But other than that, he's just useless. That's a topic for another video, so let's get on with this deck. Okay, what do we want to achieve? We want to build our board with as many Corsairs as we can. I would like 3 or 4 Trappers at least at tier 3, and 1 or 2 Executioners. Yeah, minimum 1 of course, but I think 2 would help, because if you have a lot of mobs on the board, if you miss some, you know, you have the second one to back you up. At least that's what I feel. So that's basically it. As many Corsairs as possible, 3-4 Trappers, try to get everything above tier 3. That's it. Now, how do we start the game? We want as much early game damage as possible, so we can start saving mana to build our board as strong as possible early on, if that makes sense. So it all depends basically on how what units you get early game. If you get enough Corsairs and Trappers, you will be fine for a decent amount of rounds. So I would just save up my mana until the first boss, depending on which boss it is, not for Tribunal of course, and start building your board. If you can have enough damage early on, I would just save for a big amount of mana, where I can find a balance to make my board even stronger, but also level up my skills. That's the first thing we are going to try to achieve. When we succeed at this, our goal is to build our board as quick as possible and get our units as high tier possible we can. we just had Bedlam mess up our board pretty good, and it only gave me a tier 4 Trapper and 1 tier 4 Corsair only, so I need to start building my board. So you have to be prepared for moments like this and adapt as quick as possible. But if everything goes well, you know, we just try to build our board with as many high tier Corsairs as we can as quick as possible, and you just have to make sure you can get enough bombs on the field to keep up with the waves and keep your damage coming, especially against opponents like we're facing now with what's his name? I already forgot. I get a little blackout here. The Inquisitor, holy hell. Anyway, so they can do a lot of damage, so you need to be able to keep up with that. And well, we seem to be managing fine right now. In short, this is basically how we do it. Get as much damage out there as quick as possible. And as you can see, it's good enough to finish off this Inquisitor. For our second match in this video, our second deck, we will be using the same deck with one change. We will be using Mime instead of Trapper. The biggest difference between these two decks is, as I said earlier, the Trapper deck is maybe a little bit beginner friendly and easier to use in the beginning, while the Mime deck it's missing the Trapper's slow and damage boost, but you can build your board a lot faster. So if you play it right, if you get a little bit of practice, just build those Corsairs as quick as possible and you will be able to do that sooner. So the only difference you need to do here is conserve your mana a little bit better. So you save up for quite some mana and you can build a really big board. You save up again to level your skills and you try and find a balance in that. And yeah, with a little bit of luck in the RNG, you will get really high Corsairs, making it easier to fill your board and stuff like that. The same rule on the heroes applies here. I can't tell you which one is best yet. Here in the video you also see me trying this with Trainer. I have also tried it with Snowflake, so it's kind of the same story. I like them both. I'm not ready to tell you guys yet which one I think is best. That's that. Now Mime makes it so you can build summoners together with Harlequin a lot faster and get a better board. As you see, we're pretty early in the game and I already have a big board set. I should have been waiting a little bit because Tribunal is coming, but because I have so many tier 2 and tier 3 units, I basically didn't care because I knew I was safe enough. So let's just see how this game evolves. So Tribunal just did his thing. I didn't get hit too hard, so I can just continue doing my thing. Want to save some mana, want to level up my skills and want to get as many Corsairs on the board as possible. And that's basically how the deck works. One thing you also should know is the RNG involved with the Corsair decks. Like bosses can really mess you up. It kind of depends, like Bedlam for example, he can really mess up your board, but you can also be lucky, get quite a few summoners, get some lucky merges and make your board a lot stronger. So he's like a coin flip. Then you have Warlock, especially late game Warlock. If it takes some time to kill him, that's really annoying because he can start taking out, sniping some of your units, and if he takes out the higher level units, it can be really annoying. And you know, the RNG quite often has the tendency to be annoying. Then we have Puppeteer. I personally don't like him, but as you know, if he comes in a bad point in the game where your mana is low and it takes a while to kill him, he can bring you all the way back to level 1 skills, and you don't really want that. So that can also be a problem. But most of the time, if you get your damage high enough, you wouldn't have a problem with those bosses. And by the time they really become a problem, your opponent will also be having a lot of trouble with them. So that's basically the punchline. Now, for you guys that want a little sneak preview, I will be updating the tier list today. So the time this video comes online, a little bit later, the tier list should also be updated with my latest findings. And that's also where this deck or these decks come into place. Like right now I have like a Hammer Time Inquisitor with Frost instead of Bomber at number 1. That will be changing. If you want to know how, you better go check the tier list later today. Where this will fall in the tier list, it will definitely, they're already there, but they will be moving up a few spots. They will become a bit higher tiered than they are now, because they are definitely worth playing. Also, something to note with the tier list is with patch 4.0, what I am noticing is that, you know, I think right now there isn't like the one best deck. They're all like you know, they're worth each other. They kind of fall into place. Like they have their strengths, they have their benefits, and everybody can win from everybody. That's what I'm feeling right now. So let's find out later how that will reflect into the tier list. Now, I want to thank everybody for watching. Like always, I really appreciate your support. If you have something to say, leave me a comment, click that like button, and if you really want to help me out, please subscribe to my channel, because that will really help me in the future to keep making these videos, and maybe even have a little bit more time to keep making these videos. So thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all very soon on the battlefield, and enjoy the rest of the video. See you guys later.